And if there's any issues, Brother Judah, if there's any issues, you can always let me know, and I'll try to fix them, all right, as far as technical issues. So as I was stating, a lot of people have questions concerning Leviathan and Behemoth. Who and what are these creatures? What is their purpose? And when were they created? We're going to try to cover this topic as best as we can possible according to the Bible. And hopefully after this lesson you all will be acclimated with the understanding of who is Leviathan and who is Behemoth. We're going to start off in the book of 2nd Esdras and the Apocrypha to give you the history of when they were created. All right? Because the Bible, even though the Bible, the Genesis account, the first chapter, don't give you the exact date on which they were created, and it doesn't necessarily mention Leviathan and Behemoth, there's other scriptures which actually give you the history of when they were created and the purpose for their creation. So we're going to start off in the book of 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter. All right? We can start around the 52nd verse. Okay? Go ahead.
But unto Leviathan thou gavest the seventh part, namely the moist, and hast kept him to be devoured of whom thou wilt, and when.
Start up a few more verses. Let's start at verse 47. So right now we're in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 47, and we're giving you the history of when and how Leviathan and Behemoth were created. All right?
Upon the 5th day thou saidst unto the seventh part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fishes. And so it came to pass. For the dumb water and without life brought forth living things at the commandment of the Most High, that all people might praise thy wondrous works. Then didst thou ordain 2 living creatures, the one thou calledest Enoch, and the other Leviathan.
So now we can see here on the 5th day of creation. As a matter of fact, I want you to start off and read that again at verse 47 to give you the exact day on when these 2 creatures were created.
Verse 47. Upon the 5th day thou saidst unto the seventh part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures.
So on the 5th day of creation, the Most High made a sanction that the waters, which it calls the 7th part, should bring forth living creatures. All right? We can read about some of those living creatures in the Bible. You got the fish of the sea. You got the fowls of the air. You got the great whales. You know, all those different things that are mentioned in the book of Genesis. But there's 2 other creatures which Genesis don't mention that 2nd Esdras does. We're going to get those 2 creatures. Go ahead. Yeah.
Verse 49. Then didst thou ordain 2 living creatures, the one thou calledest Enoch.
Now it says, the one thou callest Enoch. Now when you go into the translation, as a matter of fact, I believe I have a Cambridge. What we have here is called a Cambridge Annotated Apocrypha. And with this particular Apocrypha, basically what it did was it took all the different translations of the Apocrypha and combined them into one. All right? So when you go to that reference, when it makes mention of Enoch, it's not talking about the Enoch that you may read, the prophet Enoch who wrote the book of Enoch, or the other Enoch, son of Cain, so on and so forth. All right? Enoch is talking about Behemoth, which is the land creature which the Most High created on the 5th day of creation. All right? Enoch, according to the Cambridge Annotated Apocrypha, is a translation that was placed there in the Latin. All right? But we know the correct translation should be Behemoth, just in case anyone is wondering. Go ahead.
And the other Leviathan.
And the other Leviathan. Okay. Now you have Behemoth, which is a land creature, and you have Leviathan, which is a sea creature, and it's going to explain. Go ahead.
Verse 50. And did separate the one from the other.
And it says he separated one from the other. Why? Because it's going to state that the sea was not large enough to contain these two creatures. Go ahead.
For the seventh part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both.
So the seventh part, which the waters were gathered together, we know the earth is made of 7 parts water, 3 parts earth, or 70% water, about 30% earth. All right? So with the 7 parts where the waters were created or where they were gathered, it was not able to hold these two creatures. That's to show you how massive these creatures are. Go ahead.
Verse 51. Unto Enoch thou gavest one part, which was dried up the third day.
And it says he gave unto Enoch the one part that was dried up the third day. The question is, which part was dried up the third day? That's talking about the earth. When the Most High said, let there be earth. Okay? Or when the earth submerged from the waters on the third day of creation. Go ahead.
Unto Enoch thou gavest one part, which was dried up the third day, that he should dwell in the same part, wherein are 1,000 hills. But unto Leviathan thou gavest the seventh part, namely the moist, and hast kept him to be devoured of whom thou wilt, and when.
So it says, Leviathan have been kept to be devoured of whom the Most High will have him to be devoured. We're going to show you later when we go into the book of Baruch who that's talking about. All right, because he's going to be meat in the last days. We're going to show you according to Baruch what that's talking about. But let's go into the Bible in the book of Job. And we're first going to start with the description of Behemoth. Now, this is not going to be a long lesson. We're maybe going to be on for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So this is not going to take long, but hopefully you all receive edification on these two particular creatures. Now, a lot of people, there's been a lot of speculation as to what these creatures are. Some people may say that Behemoth is the hippopotamus. And they may say that Leviathan is an alligator. Okay? But we're going to show you that according to the Bible, without shadow of a doubt, it's impossible for, number one, Behemoth to be a hippopotamus, Leviathan to be an alligator, or any other creature that they claim it to be in this earth. These two creatures are unlike any other creation that the Most High have created. And you have to think about the power that comes with these two creatures. Number one, they were here since the 5th day of creation, which means what? When the Most High brought the flood upon the earth, these two animals or these two creatures were able to survive the destruction that came with the flood. So all the way from the 5th day of creation all the way into our time, these creatures are still walking and roaming the earth, or one is roaming the earth and the other is in the sea. All right? And this shows you on a whole nother level the power of the Most High, what he's able to create, what he's able to bring forth. But that's going into another topic. All right? So let's go to the book of Job, chapter 40, and we're going to start at about verse 15.
Behold, now Behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox.
So it says, Behemoth eateth grass as an ox. Now, does that mean that Behemoth is an ox? Absolutely not. It just talks about what he consumes for meat or what he consumes for food. So it says he eateth grass as an ox, which means he eats vegetation. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of the Most High. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him.
Right, so I need you to read that again from that verse where it states, verse 16. You can start from there, verse 16.
Verse 16. Lo now, his strength is in his loins,
So it states his strength is in his loins. Okay, go ahead.
and his force in the navel of his belly.
And it says his force is in the navel of his belly, giving you the anatomy of this particular animal. So he has loins, he has a navel, and it states that his strength, his force, is in his loins and in the center of his navel. Go ahead.
Verse 17. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together.
And it says the sinews of his stones are wrapped together. In other words, this is letting you know that this is a male creature. All right? The sinews of his stones speaking about his privy area. Okay, go ahead.
His bones are as strong pieces of brass.
As a matter of fact, let me show that real quick to prove that this is talking about the privy area. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 23. All right? Stones, when you read stones in the scripture, when it's talking about a man or a creature stones, that's basically a Hebrew euphemism. All right? A Hebrew euphemism for a male's private area. All right? What is a euphemism? A euphemism is basically a clean way of saying something that may be considered vulgar. Okay? So let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 23, and let's start at verse 1.
23, Deuteronomy 23, verse 1. He that is wounded in the stones, or have his privy member cut off.
Read that again.
He that is wounded in the stones,
So it says, he that is wounded in the stones, talking about the male's private area. Go ahead.
or have his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of the Most High.
So now, according to the law, if he had a situation in which either his stones were wounded or his privy member was cut off, in other words, a eunuch, all right, a man that was castrated, he was not allowed into the congregation of the Most High, all right? But we know that's changed. It tells you in the book of, correct me if I'm wrong, it may be Isaiah the 56th chapter. As a matter of fact, let me get that real quick, where it tells you that the man that is wounded in his privy, or the eunuch, all right, the eunuch that follows the Sabbath and worships the Most High is going to have the blessing more than multiple sons, all right? Let's get that in the book of Isaiah. Let me see. And we're going to get this, and we're going to jump back to Behemoth, all right? And the only reason I'm going to these few scriptures is to show you what it means by being wounded in the stones, just so we can have clarity, all right? So let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 56, verse 3, all right? Go ahead.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Most High speak, saying, the Most High have utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree.
So there's going to come a time in which you're going to have the stranger. He's going to be able to say that I am not separated from the Lord's people. And then you're going to have the eunuch who's going to be able to say that, behold, let me not be a dry tree. Okay, what does it mean by being a dry tree? That means you're not able to bring forth children. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 4. For thus saith the Most High unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even unto them will I give in mine house, and within my walls a place and a name. Better.
So whereas before you had those in the old covenant, such as those who are wounded in the stones, if he was wounded in the old covenant, he wasn't allowed to come into the congregation. But now it states that if he keeps the Sabbath of the Most High, to show you the importance of the Sabbaths, the holy days, so on and so forth, if he keeps these things, then it states that what?
Verse 5. Even unto them will I give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and daughters.
So he's going to give the person who's a dry tree who can bring forth physical children, he's going to give him a reward which is going to be better than sons and daughters. Go ahead.
I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
So he's going to give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. All right, just in case anyone is wondering, does that law still hold today as far as those who can't come into the congregation based on that particular, what would you call it, a basically a handicap, okay? Those who are dealing with that handicap are not going to be held to that same situation in which they can't come into the congregation based on that, all right? So now let's go back to the book of Job chapter 40, and let's pick up where we left off.
Verse 18. His bones are as strong pieces of brass.
It says his bones are as strong pieces of brass. To show you how strong this creature is. And it's deep because with all the technology that Esau got in his world in this time, he's still not able to destroy these two creatures. And it's going to show you. All right? Go ahead.
His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of the Most High.
So it says he is the chief of the ways of the Most High, to show you that this is one of the Most High's greatest creations. As far as his strength, as far as him being able to survive from the 5th day of creation up until now, which shows you this thing been living for over 10,000 years. Okay, him and Leviathan. This shows you the great might and the great power of the Most High. And then it's going to tell you that only the Most High can destroy this creature. Go ahead.
Verse 19. He is the chief of the ways of the Most High. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him.
So it says, he that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Which means only the Most High has the power to destroy this creature. Now what is this showing? What is this proving? This is proving that this is not a hippopotamus. Okay? Because all I need right now is either a gun or a spear. I can go into the woods right now and shoot down a hippopotamus with no problem. Okay? So based on that alone, we know that it's not talking about that particular type of creature. Even though the hippopotamus is a very strong creature, that's not the behemoth that we read about in the book of Job. Okay? It says, he that created him, only his sword is able to come and deal with this particular creature, this animal. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play.
So it says the mountains bring him forth food, to show you that he dwells in the mountains. Okay, go ahead.
He lieth under the shady trees, in the covert of the reed and fens. The shady trees cover him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, he drinketh up a river, and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan into his mouth.
So it says this animal is so powerful that he himself believes that he can drink up the whole Jordan, the whole river Jordan up into his mouth. That's how massive, this is how powerful this creature is. So imagine how powerful the Most High is who created this creature. Okay, with his own two hands, or under the command, well, of course we know that Christ is responsible for creation. All right, so under the command of the Father, Christ created these creatures. All right, go ahead.
Verse 24. He taketh it with his eyes. His nose pierceth through snares.
It says his nose pierceth through snares. All right, so that what comes to mind is when you see those nature videos where they got the wildlife, they're trying to catch these animals with snares and so on and so forth. All right, but it says when it comes to behemoth, it says his nose doeth what?
His nose pierceth through
It
snares.
says his nose pierceth through snares. So even his nose alone is able to break the snares and the traps of this earth as far as the technology. Go ahead.
Job 41, verse 1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook?
So now this is going into Job, the 41st chapter and the first verse. Am I correct? So this is Job 41 and 1. This is now going into Leviathan. And now it's going to show you the strength of Leviathan. We just covered Behemoth, the land creature. Now we're going to Leviathan, the sea creature. We're going to see the power that the Most High gave this particular creature. Go ahead.
Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook?
So now the Most High is asking a question to Job. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook? Which means, can you go and cast your hook into the sea the same way you go to catch a fish and pull up Leviathan? The answer is no, because if it was possible, they would have done it already. Okay? But once again, to show you that Esau don't even have the technology to be able to deal with these particular creatures. All right? And I have a news flash for all those who think that, you know, even though this is his realm, this is his rulership, I'm going to give you a news flash. All right? Esau have not discovered everything that the Most High have put in this universe. I'm going to repeat it again. Esau have not conquered and have not found everything that the Most High put in this universe. All right? How do we know that? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, the 31st chapter. You can hold Job 41. All right? And the reason why I'm going here is because they make you believe through the Wildlife Channel, through science, through so on and so forth, that they have conquered all that is to be conquered, that they have found all that needs to be found. But here we're reading in the book of Job about two creatures that none of the nations thus far have been able to touch. Okay? So now let's see what the Bible states about if Esau or any nation is able to conquer all creation and is able to find out all things that are contained within creation. What will happen to us as a result? Go ahead.
31, 37?
Yeah, you can start at, matter of fact, 31. Yeah, 31, 37.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 37. Thus saith the Most High, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath.
So it says, if heaven above can be measured. You notice they sent things into outer space. They created the Hubble telescope. They're doing all these different things, creating all these different tools to try to measure the heavens. Why? Because they're trying to take up the Most High on his word. The question is, what is the Most High's word? All right, concerning the measure of the heavens. Then it goes on to state what?
I will also cast off all.
Read that last part, if they can, at the earth.
And the foundations of the earth searched out beneath.
And if the foundations of the earth can be searched out beneath, which means they can conquer, subdue, and find everything that is found in the foundations of the earth. Go ahead.
I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Most High.
If they're able to do so, then the Most High will cast us off from being a nation. Okay? But have we been cast off from being a nation? Absolutely not. When you go to Jeremiah 31 and 31, a few verses up, it states that the Most High will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, to show you that the Most High have not cast us off. He's making a new covenant with us, or he have made a new covenant with us through Christ. All right? So this is to show you that the nations have not been able to deal with Leviathan, Behemoth, or there's other creations that they have not been able to deal with that's in this earth or in this universe. All right? Let's go back to the book of Job 41. All right, you got it?
Yep. Job 41, verse 2. Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn?
So can you go and hunt Leviathan the same way you go alligator hunting, the same way you go shark hunting, or the same way you go fishing, so on and so forth? Can you do the same thing with Leviathan? This is what the Most High is asking. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee?
So it says, will Leviathan make supplications unto you? In other words, will he bow to you like all the other creation have bowed unto Edom? All right. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever?
Read that again.
Verse 4. will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever?
Will you be able to take Leviathan for a servant? The same way you take a dog and train him to be a servant, to be up under you. All right. The same way you take a cat and to be trained up under you to be, your pet. Can you do the same thing with Leviathan? You even got now they take wild animals such as lions, tigers, okay, bears, put them in a zoo and train them and tame them to the point where these wild beasts no longer have that same fury or that same nature of a wild beast. Okay? Can you do the same thing with Leviathan? Go ahead.
Verse 5. Wilt thou play with him as with a bird?
Read that again.
Wilt thou play with him as with a bird?
So it says, will you play with Leviathan as with a bird? All right. You see now they got the thing where they put the glove on their hand and they got the eagles and, they'll take a hawk and train a hawk. All right. And do all these different things with the birds, put birds in cages, so on and so forth. It's stating, can you do the same thing with Leviathan? Go ahead.
Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens?
It says, will thou bind him for thy maidens, which means will you bind him for entertainment? The same way you take animals and put them in a zoo for entertainment, put them behind cages. All right? Take them out of their natural habitat and tame them so that you can have power and control over these creatures. Will you be able to do the same thing with Leviathan is what the Most High is asking? And of course we know the answer is no, because once again, if you could have done it, if any nation could have done it, they would have done it. Okay, they would have done it up until this point. All right? You will see at a circus or you will see at some type of zoo, Leviathan or Behemoth as a main attraction. At one of these zoos or one of these circuses, so on and so forth, if they was able to take these creatures and do what they do to the other creation of the Most High. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants?
So it says, shall they make a banquet of him? Shall they take Leviathan out of the water like a fish or any other creature that they may take out the water and eat? Because the other nations, they eat all types of things. And even our people have went into the spirit of eating alligators, eating sharks, and eating all types of creatures that come out of the waters that were not created to be consumed. So it's stating, will you take Leviathan out of the water and make a banquet of him? All right, the same way you do the fish of the sea. Go ahead. And will you make a merchandise out of him? Will you turn him into merchandise? Go ahead.
Verse 7. Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons?
Can you do what?
Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons?
Can you take basically a spear or barbed iron in order to capture Leviathan? The same way you would capture any other creature in this earth. And this proves that this is not talking about an alligator, because we know that alligators can be caught, with ease, okay? Alligators can be caught at any time, any period. They can be caught with a barbed spear. They can be caught with a hook, okay, just so you can understand. So this is not talking about a regular creature that you can find within the confines of this earth, all right? Go ahead.
Or his head with fish spears?
Or can you take a fish spear and throw it around his head and bring him up out of the water and draw him up out of the water? All right? The answer is no. Go ahead.
Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down, even at the sight of him?
So it says, one shall be cast down even at the sight of him, to show you that this is a dreadful creature as far as his sight, as far as his appearance. Go ahead.
Verse 10. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me?
Well, what verse you at?
Chapter 41, verse 10.
All right, read that again.
None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me?
So it says, none is fierce that they may stir him up, to show that there's no nation as fierce in this earth, no matter what type of technology they obtain. No nation is so fierce that they can subdue this particular creature. And it says, who then is able to stand before me? So the Most High is asking, if you can't even capture him, if you can't deal with him, how are you going to deal with the Most High? How can you deal with Christ? How can you deal with the spiritual realm when you can't even deal with something that the Most High put in the physical realm? Go ahead.
Verse 11. Who hath prevented me, that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power.
So it says, whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. So this creature belongs to the Most High. Go ahead.
I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal.
So now this is going into the physical appearance of this particular creature. Now you may see many different movies which make an attempt to give you a physical description of how this animal looks, such as Godzilla. You may hear of the Loch Ness Monster. You have other theories or other so-called myths of the Greeks. The Greeks, where they have this giant, which looks like a giant squid or a giant octopus called Kraken. Okay, for those who may have seen Clash of the Titans, you had that giant octopus, and at the end, the guy was able to take the head of Medusa and put it before the giant squid, and it turned them into stone. All right, so that's just to show you that all around the earth, I think the Babylonians have a similar creature which they have in their particular records called Tiamat. All right, so there's many different cultures around the earth which try to give a physical description of how this animal looks. All right, go ahead.
Verse 15. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them.
So it says his scales are so tight together that air can't move between his scales. All right, to show you how tightly built Leviathan is. Go ahead.
They are joined one to another. They stick together, that they cannot be sundered. By his
So they stick together so that they cannot be sundered. So this is why the nations cannot destroy this creature. Okay, it's because of his build. Because his scales are so tightly together, you can't take any weapon, you can't take anything and try to deal with this creature physically. Go ahead.
Verse 18. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out.
So that's where you get I want to say myth, but it's not really a myth. You understand? It's truth according to the Bible, what they call the fire-breathing dragon. All right, when you see those movies, which may seem as a fairy tale of faraway land or some type of place, like what's one, like Lord of the Rings? Did they have there's a movie that came out on it with the same that same type of vibe of Lord of the Rings, but they have fire-breathing dragons, so on and so forth. Right. Right. What is that called? I forget what that's called. I know what you're talking about, where you got to take the Excalibur, I think it's called, where you got to take the sword out of the stone. And believe it or not, they get that out of the Bible. Okay, when you read the book of Joshua, the same thing happened. Moses, with the staff that Moses had, it tells you that it was stuck in the ground and he had to try to get it out of the stone. That's where they get the story of Excalibur from, when you read the book of Joshua. So a lot of these so-called myths and these so-called stories that they try to promote to you and place before you as just stories and myths and things that can never happen, things that are impossible, these are things that have actually taken place in past societies, in past history, in past cultures. And when you go to past societies and past cultures, they actually have artifacts which document these different creatures, these different events, so on and so forth. For example, when you go to South America, they've found plates in South America where you have pictures of men or stone cuttings of men living beside dinosaurs. And it shows the dinosaurs actually taking the men and ripping men apart, so on and so forth. These are artifacts that they have found in South America. All right, to prove to you that dinosaurs existed alongside mankind and that they're not billions of years old, as they state in science. Okay, let's go back to the last verse you picked up, or the last verse you left off.
Verse 19. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out.
So that's your fire-breathing dragon. Go ahead.
Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron.
So if you ever took a pot and boil it, put water in it and boil it till it gets its hottest, that's what's coming out of the nose of Leviathan, that hot steam that you see when you go to boil a pot of water. Go ahead.
Verse 21. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth.
So it says his breath kindleth coals, which means with his breath he can set coals on fire. Go ahead.
In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved.
So once again, it's talking about his scales, how they cannot be moved. All right? How firm they are, how strong he is physically. Go ahead.
His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether milestone.
So it says his heart is as firm as a stone. Let's talk about the courage of this particular creature, Leviathan. Okay, go ahead.
When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings, they purify themselves.
Read that again.
When he raiseth up himself.
So when Leviathan raiseth up himself, when he raiseth up in his power or in his might, to show you that nations have come across Leviathan. All right? Nations have come across this creature. Have they been able to subdue him? Absolutely not. All right? But they have come across them. And what happens when people come across Leviathan? Go ahead.
When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid.
So it says the mighty are afraid. Go ahead.
By reason of breakings, they purify themselves.
So it says by reason of breakings, talking about the destruction that he bring forth, they purify themselves. So in other words, they see Leviathan, they try to get right with the Most High if they come across Leviathan. All right? That's how powerful he is. Go ahead.
The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold. The spear, the dart, nor the habergeon.
All right, you see that? Once again proving that the technology and the weaponry of this earth cannot destroy Leviathan. It says the sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold. So you can take the greatest sword, take the greatest samurai sword, sharpen 150 times and try to slice Leviathan or stick the sword in Leviathan, it's not going to hold. All right? It's like trying to take a toothpick and, take a toothpick and put it through steel. All right? It's not going to work. Go ahead.
Verse 27.
As a matter of fact, it's going to show you how it looks when you try to take a sword and put it through Leviathan. It's going to show you. Go ahead.
He esteemeth iron as straw. And
as a matter of fact, read verse 26 again before you go into that.
Verse 26. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold.
So your sword cannot hold. Your sword is weak compared to the strength of Leviathan. It can't subdue him. Go ahead.
The spear, the dart, nor the habergeon.
So the spear, the dart, or the habergeon cannot subdue Leviathan. So the question is, how are these things esteemed in the eyes of Leviathan? How's the sword esteemed in his eyes? How's the spear and the darts and the arrows, so on and so forth? How's the weaponry of this earth esteemed in the eyes of Leviathan? It's going to show you. Go ahead.
He esteemeth iron as straw.
It says he esteemeth iron as straw. Okay, so if you was to take an iron rod and try to pierce through Leviathan, it'll be as if you're trying to take a straw. Okay, it'll be as if you're trying to kill somebody with a straw. Okay, it's not going to work. All right, go ahead.
and brass as rotten wood.
And it says brass is like rotten wood. You gotta understand, iron and brass are some of the strongest metals that you can find in the earth. But it says to Leviathan, they like straw, and that the brass is like rotten wood. All right? How many of you ever seen rotten wood? All right? A rotten wood starts to crumble. All right? So you can take a brass spear and try to, take it towards Leviathan, it'll just crumble. Okay? Right in your hands. Go ahead.
The arrow cannot make him flee.
It says the arrow cannot make him flee. So Leviathan is not like the deer. He's not like any of these other creatures who flee when they see the arrow. All right? That's how powerful Leviathan is. Go ahead.
Sling stones are turned with him into stubble.
So it says sling stones are turned into stubble. All right? If you read about the story, the closest thing I can compare it to, you read about how David took the stone and slew Goliath. All right? He wouldn't have been able to do the same thing with Leviathan, just to make a long story short. All right? A sling stone cannot destroy this particular creature. Unless the Most High was in the power of that sling stone, then David may have been able to do something. But other than that, there's nothing that you can take in this earth and try to destroy this creature. All right? And he's going to show you, according to the Bible, he's an example of the Most High strength. Go ahead.
Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear.
So it says he laughed at the shaking of a spear. All right? So you sitting there try to shoot a spear at him, it's hilarious. All right? It says he laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Why? Because it has no power, it has no dominion, it has no effect towards him. Go ahead.
Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire.
So it says sharp stones are under him, which means daily he treadeth upon sharp stones, where he is at the bottom of the sea. All right? So the things we esteem to be deadly weapons, he's treading upon these things daily. All right? And it says he turns these sharp stones into mire, which means when he treads upon the sharp stones, they turn into little itty bitty pebbles and dust. All right? That sounds like something you see in the Looney Tunes cartoon, or one of those type of cartoons where somebody's stepping on rocks and it turns into dirt. This is what happens with Leviathan when he's under the, in the deep of the sea. Okay, go ahead.
He maketh the deep to boil like a pot.
It says he maketh the deep to boil as a pot. Okay? To show you there's heat that comes with Leviathan. Okay, go ahead.
He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment.
And it says he maketh the sea as a pot of ointment. All right? To show you that there's heat that comes with Leviathan. All right, go ahead.
He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary.
Go ahead.
Upon the earth there is not his like, who is made without fear.
Upon the earth there is not his like, which means there's not another creature in this earth that is like Leviathan. So that takes away the alligator, that takes away any other creature that they've been trying to compare him to. Why? Because there's not any creature in this earth that can be compared unto him. The same thing with Behemoth. There's no creature that can be compared to Behemoth. Go ahead.
Verse 34. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride.
It says he beholdeth all high things, and he is the king of all the children of pride. Why does it state that he's the king of all the children of pride? Because they admire the strength of Leviathan, a lot of these nations worship. Okay, they worship Leviathan, they worship the dragon, so on and so forth. All right? As a matter of fact, I think I have a picture. When you go into researching Satanism, usually you'll see the picture of the Baphomet, and around the Baphomet you'll see the Hebrew letters. All right? What those Hebrew letters spell out is Leviathan in Hebrew. Okay? Leviathan. All right? And I believe I have a picture which shows an example of that. Yeah, exactly. Anton LaVey, when he created the Satanic Bible, one of the highest creatures that he reverenced in the Satanic Bible is Leviathan. All right? So that's what it means when it says he's over the children of pride. And we know the most prideful people that it speaks about in the scriptures just happens to be Edom. Okay? Let me see if I believe I have a link I can put inside the chat. And while I'm putting this in, you can go to the book of Psalms, the 104th chapter. All right, to get some more on Leviathan, Psalms 104 and 24. Yeah, go ahead.
Psalms 104, verse 24. O Most High, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are the things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein.
Read that again.
Verse 26.
So start from verse 24 again. I just put the link in the chat. Hopefully you all can see it concerning what I was just mentioning when it states that he is the king of all the children of pride. Once again, when you go into Satanism, they worship, even when you go into the Satanic Bible, which was written by Anton LaVey, which I brought out in the past, was Jewish. His original name was Anton Levy, all right, which comes from the Hebrew name Levi. All right, so he's a so-called Jew. But he created the Church of Satan, and when he wrote the Satanic Bible, one of the highest creatures that's reverenced in Satanism is Leviathan. All right, so that's what it's talking about when it states that he's the king of all the children of pride. Okay, now in the link, you can see an example of that. Once again, when you see the picture of the Baphomet, it has the Hebrew characters going around it, and when you read it, it's spelling out Leviathan in Hebrew, which is Leviathan. All right. So now let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 104, verse 24, and let's see some other attributes of Leviathan. Go ahead.
O Most High, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all.
So it says, how manifold are the works of the Most High, the Heavenly Father. All right, to show that there's many levels. That's what manifold means. There's many levels to the wisdom and the works of the Most High. Go ahead.
The earth is full of thy riches. Verse 25. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable.
There's innumerable things creeping within the sea. As I mentioned earlier, if you were to put all the creatures, if you were to take all the creatures of the sea, Esau still have not been able to discover all these innumerable creatures. Okay? The nations have not been able to discover all these innumerable creatures. All right? They promote it to you, and they put it before you as if they figured out everything that needs to be figured out. But the Most High's wisdom, as it states, is manifold. Okay? Go ahead.
Both small and great beasts.
It says it contains both small and great beasts. Go ahead.
There go the ships.
It says, there goes the ships. Go ahead.
There is that Leviathan.
It says, there is that Leviathan. Now, which makes this so funny is that this shows you that the Most High works on all levels with this creation. An example, before I go into this, an example I want to give to this is the book of Sirach. If someone can get that for me. The book of Sirach, I believe, chapter 39. Yeah. Or try 38. Sirach 38. Let me see. Yes, Sirach chapter 39, verse 28. All right. Now, before you read that, as I was stating, the Most High works on all levels when it comes to his power, his might, his strength, his vengeance, so on and so forth. Sometimes we wonder, when we look at the weaponry and the technology of all the different nations, when we look at the HARP system, when we look at the fact they got lasers and satellites and all these different things set up in outer space, we sometimes wonder, how are we going to be able to overcome these different things? How are we going to be able to fight these nations with all the different weapons they got? Okay, they got new guns and new weapons. I think this was brought out in the news where they got DNA-specific weapons. All these different things they have in order to try to destroy us, and it may seem like we have no strength, we have no power, We have no defense. But I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you according to what the scripture is stating in Job or Psalms, the 104th chapter. All right? The Most High used the elements, he uses the creatures, he uses his creation in many instances to fight our battles. All right? And believe it or not, Leviathan is used in some instances to what the scriptures say, to spoil the counsel of the heathen. All right? They may have one thing in mind. All right? They may want to set something to sell across the sea that's going to mean our demise. And the Most High sent Leviathan in the water, and next thing you know, you have a report about a ship being sunk. Okay? Why? Because the Most High spoils the counsels of the heathen. The Most High realizes that we don't have any power structure or any defense or any military or any police like the other nations have. So he uses his creation to fight our battles, and I'm going to prove it going to the book of Sirach chapter 39. All right? Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes.
So it says, there be creatures which are created for vengeance, or spirits, Salakia. There are spirits that are created for vengeance. Go ahead. So there's spirits that the Most High created specifically to bring forth vengeance, revenge. Go ahead.
Which in their fury lay on sore
It
strokes.
says, which in their fury lay on sore strokes, which means they bring forth pain. Go ahead.
In the time of destruction, they pour out their force.
It says, in the time of destruction, they pour out their force. All right. Now, today, they have created what you call the harp system. So sometimes you're not able to tell whether it's the Most High bringing forth a storm or whether they're using the harp system. But there used to be a time in history in which if a storm was coming forth or something was happening in the earth, you knew it was directly coming from the Most High. Why? Because the Most High would send that spirit of fury, that spirit that's in control of the winds. He'd let them know, listen, send a tornado this way. All right? Send a storm that way, so on and so forth. Okay? But now they messed everything up. They got the harp system, so now people, they so mixed up, people are so backwards, they don't know where the storm is coming from. Go ahead. And on top of that, by doing so, it gives reverence to the people who created the harp system. So now you attribute almost every storm to the harp. And now they're being reverenced over what the Most High can do. All right? You fear them before you fear the Most High bringing forth a storm, in other words. Go ahead.
In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them.
So what do? They appease the wrath of him that created them. All right? So when they bring forth destruction, they please the Most High. All right? Go ahead.
Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance.
These are all the things that happen that the Most High bring forth in the earth to bring forth his vengeance. Fire. What is fire? Okay? Fire is an element in the earth. Okay? Read the other ones.
And hail.
And hail. All right? When it starts to hail outside, what is that? That's a natural situation. That's a natural storm. But the Most High used that to bring forth vengeance. Okay? Go ahead.
And famine.
And famine. Go ahead.
And death.
And death. Go ahead.
All these were created for vengeance.
All these things were created for the Most High's vengeance. All right, go ahead.
Verse 30. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction.
Exactly. So sometimes we look at our warfare, like the scriptures state, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. All right, so it's not going to be always us picking up a gun or picking up a knife or picking up a sword, and we think that's the Most High delivering us from a situation. Okay, sometimes the Most High is going to send the Most High, like He did in Second Kings, the 17th chapter, when you had those nations who went into the land and didn't know what they was doing, was worshiping other gods. The Most High sent lions in amongst the land. All right, and the lions started eating the people in the land of Samaria. All right, when our people started acting up in the wilderness, what happened? When we started complaining, started going against Moses, speaking against Moses, so on and so forth, what happened? The Most High sent serpents. okay, to bite the people. And then Moses had to make the brazen serpent. Everyone who looked upon the serpent believed that Moses was the leader, was healed. All right? But just to show you that the Most High have used creation, they've used animals. Even when you go back to our people, the conquest in the land of Canaan, all right? He sent bees, he sent wasps, he sent all types of things in the land in order to move some of the nations, the 7 nations of Canaan, out of the land and help fight our battle. In the land of Egypt, what did he use in Egypt? Did we just go and just pick up knives and swords and fight against the Egyptians? No. Okay? The Most High sent frogs. Okay? He sent flies. He sent pestilence. All right? He sent blood upon the waters. These are all things that the Most High did in order to make a point, in order to be able to fight our battle. All right? And the same thing's going to be happening in the end times, in these last days. Go ahead.
Verse 31. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come.
So it says, read that again.
They shall rejoice in his commandment.
So it says they shall rejoice in his commandment. So when the Most High sent a pack of lions to go destroy some people who out there in the woods doing something they ain't got no business, they pleased that the Most High gave them that commandment. Okay? When the Most High sent a bear, because sometimes Esau, he goes into the woods, and these other nations go into the woods, and they do things they ain't got no business. Okay? So while they going there to go try to deal with their counsel, whoever they dealing with, they go in there trying to sacrifice a child or trying to do something they ain't got no business, the Most High sent a lion or a bear, and he destroyed the whole situation. All right? And it says they are appeased. Why? Because the animals are tired also. You think we tired of what's going on in the earth. The animals are tired also. It tells you in the book of Romans, the 8th chapter, that the creation groaneth. All right? And they're waiting for the fullness of the sons of the Most High. They're waiting for the sons of the Most High to come to their fullness. Not only are we waiting for Israel to wake up, the animals are waiting for Israel to wake up. All right? Just to make it clear. All right? Go ahead.
They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word.
It says when the time comes forth, they're not going to transgress his word. So when the Most High, like when it speaks, when it says that he's going to create a feast for the birds of heaven, they're not going to hold back. They're not going to transgress the Most High and say, well, you sure you want us to do this? Okay. You sure you want us to eat these people who have been transgressing your laws, statutes, and commandments all these years and have been oppressing your people, so on and so forth? They're not going to have a second thought when it's time for the Most High to use them for what they got to be used for. All right? Go ahead.
Therefore, from the beginning I was resolved, and thought upon these things, and have left them in writing. All the works of the Most High are good, and he will give every needful thing in due season.
So it says all the works of the Most High are good, and he will bring forth everything in due season. All right? So let's go back to Psalms 104. There goes those ships. 26.
There go the ships. There is that Leviathan.
So it says, there goes the ships, and there goes that Leviathan. To show you that the Most High be using Leviathan to bring forth destruction in the seas also. All right? To spoil the counsel of the heathen, or to bring the counsel of the heathen to naught. All right? So that's just to give you an example of how the Most High sometimes uses this creature to fight our battles. All right? And he uses other creatures and other creation to fight our battles in certain instances. Okay? So let's go to the book of 2nd Baruch. All right? As a matter of fact, let's go to the book of Isaiah, the 27th chapter, to show you the judgment that's going to come upon Behemoth and Leviathan. Because yes, in the end, both of these creatures will be judged. All right? But it's going to be to show the Most High's power, as we'll read. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 27, verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 27, verse 1. In that day the Most High with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan the piercing serpent,
So who's going to destroy Leviathan?
the Most High.
So it says the Most High with his sword is going to destroy that piercing serpent, Leviathan. He's going to do something that the nation have not been able to do for the last about 10,000 years. All right, the last maybe 8,000 to 7,000 years or so, the nations have not been able to destroy this creature. The Most High is going to do it. Go ahead.
Even Leviathan, that crooked serpent,
So it says, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent. All right, go ahead.
and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea,
And he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. To show you that Leviathan is in the waters once again, just reiterating that fact. Let's go to Psalms chapter 74, verse 12. Go ahead.
For the Most High is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragon in the waters, of the dragons in the waters.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness.
Read that again.
Verse 14. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness.
So it says he broke the head of Leviathan and made him to be meat for the people in the wilderness. All right, so this creature that no one has been able to destroy for the past 5,000, 6,000 some odd years, the Most High is going to come back and destroy this same creature and turn him into a banquet. All right, to show you how powerful the Most High is. All right, and to give more proof of that, we can go to the book of 2nd Baruch. I'm sure if I have it before me. Yawada, can you go into the? I think I have 2nd Baruch inside the closet. Right. So once again, to show you that the Most High is going to return and turn this creature, who would laugh at a spear and laugh at a sword, this same creature is going to turn into a banquet when the Most High returns. All right. Just 1 second. Let me see if I can get the book of Baruch so we can read this verse. All right, and this will be the last verse. And after that, we can go into any questions you may have. We're going to do a few minutes of questions. We're going to conclude it for the Sabbath and wish you all Godspeed. All right, just 1 second. All right, the water. All right, never mind. Y'all with them. All right. Right here we have the book of 2nd Baruch. If anyone is wondering, the book of 2nd Baruch can be found in the Pseudepigrapha of the Old Testament. All right. This is the same Baruch that you read in Scripture that was the assistant or one of the scribes under Jeremiah the prophet. Okay. So we're going to read this real quick out of 2nd Baruch chapter 29. We're going to start at verse 1. Go ahead.
And he answered and said unto me, Whatever will then befall will befall the whole earth. Therefore, all who live will experience them.
So everyone, this is talking about the end times. The whole earth will experience the things that are mentioned to come to pass in the end times concerning prophecy. All right? So no one will be exempt as far as the earth goes when it comes to what the Most High is going to bring forth. Go ahead.
Verse 2. For at that time I will protect only those who are found in those selfsame days in this land.
So it says at that time he's only going to protect those who are in that particular area that he's speaking to Baruch in. Okay? Only those who can be found in that selfsame land are going to be protected. All right? Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah shall then begin to be revealed.
So after those things take place, all the things that are mentioned, prophesied to come to pass, then shall the Messiah begin to be revealed. Go ahead.
And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place,
So Behemoth, he's going to be revealed from his place.
and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea.
And then Leviathan shall ascend from the sea. This is where they get the idea of the movie Godzilla from. All right, this creature coming from the sea and destroying cities and doing all this, wreaking havoc, so on and so forth. Go ahead.
Those two great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation.
So it says, those two great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation. Once again, another reference proving the day on which these creatures were created. Go ahead.
And shall have kept until that time, and then they shall be
So it
food.
says they shall be kept until that time. So from the 5th day of creation all the way until the time of Christ's return, these animals are going to be, or these monsters, what the scripture call them, are going to be in existence. Okay? Go ahead.
And then they shall be food for all that are left.
So it states that they shall be food for all that are left. All right? Once again, the Most High is going to turn these creatures into a banquet. All right? So that's pretty much it. Going into Leviathan, there's many other understandings, deep understandings as far as how the nations worship him, so on and so forth. There's other things that come with it, but we just wanted to touch the surface when it comes to these two creatures. All right? Hopefully everyone is clear. Hopefully everyone is edified as far as what the scriptures state concerning Leviathan and Behemoth. Hopefully we have cleared up the fact that they're not a hippopotamus, they're not crocodiles or alligators, so on and so forth. And with that, we can open it up for a few questions. If anyone has any questions based on anything we've brought out, or if you have any questions in general. All right. I also want to mention that Elder Ricari was not able to be present with us today, but he will be back next week. If it be the Lord's will, we'll be back next week during the Sabbath lesson. Okay, just in case anyone is wondering. Someone says, great class. Who will Leviathan feed in the end times? Well, based on what we just read, it states that he shall be food for all that are in those particular times. All right? I haven't read anything different to show if it will be a specific class of people who will be feasting upon him until I find something that mentions that. And then, until I can find something that mentions anything different to what we read in both 2nd Baruch. It also mentions it in 2nd Esdras, and also in the book of Psalms. Until I can find anything different, it states that they will be food for all who will be left at that time. Okay? Someone says the book of Jasher tells us that the Most High's rod was made of sapphire. Any knowledge as to why he chose this mineral to encompass his power? I would have to look into that. Any reason why he chose sapphire in order to use or to create that particular rod? I would have to look into that. All right, let me enlarge the chat. Let me see if I can bring it out. As a matter of fact, can you pass me my glasses? Just 1 second. Yeah, just 1 second. Yes, go ahead.
Someone asks, will everyone who is not on the horses got to hell when Christ come?
Right. What do you mean when you say everyone that is not on horses? Will everyone that is not on horses go to hell when Christ returns or when Christ comes? What's that? Well, are you talking about when you say, well, everyone who is not on the horses go to hell when Christ comes? Are you talking about the book of what is it, Zechariah, Zephaniah, Joel, when it speaks about they shall run like horses? But still, I don't see how that would correlate. Someone says the gathering on the horses, the change. Yeah, you have to give me a scripture which speaks about the horses. Yeah. Someone says his elder is Behemoth, Bigfoot, or so-called Bigfoot. Based on the description that we get in scripture, it doesn't describe him as being a Bigfoot. Usually when you see the depictions of what they call Bigfoot, it's a tall, I don't know what you want to call it, with a lot of hair. Uh, Behemoth is not necessarily described as having a whole lot of, or having body hair at all. Okay, so it can't really be equated to Bigfoot.
Someone says, so does the Leviathan have fins to make it eatable?
Well, the scriptures don't state whether he has fins. I know it mentions that he has scales, but it doesn't mention that he has fins. That's a good question. Someone says, do animals or creatures pray to the Most High? Let me get the book of Psalms real quick. There's a scripture which makes mention that all creation worships the Most High. Let me get that real quick. I believe this is it, Psalms 148. All right. Psalms chapter 148, verse 7. Go ahead. As a matter of fact, let's start at verse 1. This is the book of Psalms chapter 148, verse 1. Someone was asking, do animals reverence the Most High? All right. And the answer is yes. All creation was created to reverence the Most High. Go ahead.
Praise ye the Most High. Praise the Most High from the heavens. Praise him in the heights. Praise ye him, all his angels.
So you can see that all the righteous angels of the Most High reverence and bow to the Most High. Go ahead.
Praise ye him, all his hosts. Praise ye him, sun and moon.
And this host that's talking about once again, the stars of heaven. They're described as hosts. Also, that word host is also used to describe armies in Hebrew. All right. So when it speaks about the host of heaven, it's talking about the stars, which are also going to be used as the Most High's army. Go ahead.
Praise him, all ye stars of light.
So it says the sun, the moon, and the stars of light all praise the Most High. Go ahead.
Praise him, ye heavens of heavens, and ye waters that be above the heavens. Let them praise the name of the Most High, for he commanded, and they were created.
So it says, let them praise the Most High. Why? Because he commanded, and they were created. Referring back to the book of Genesis, where it speaks about how he spoke it, it came into existence. All right. It also speaks about that in Psalms. Go ahead.
He have also established them forever and ever. He hath made a decree which shall not pass. Praise the Most High from the earth, ye dragons and all deeps.
So it says, ye dragons in all deeps, praise the Most High. Go ahead.
Fire and hail, snow and vapor, stormy wind fulfilling his word.
Exactly, like we read in the book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach. It says, fire, hail, snow, and vapor, stormy wind fulfilling his word. And we read that when it's time to fulfill his word, they don't transgress the Most High's commandment. To show you that even these things which we seem to be inanimate in this society, they honor and they deal with the commandment and reverence the Most High. Okay, they deal with the commandments of the Most High. Go ahead.
Mountains and all hills, fruitful trees and all cedars, beasts and all cattle, creeping things and flying fowl.
Read that again.
Verse 10. Beasts and all cattle, creeping things and flying fowl.
So it says, beasts and all cattle, creeping things and flying fowl. Go ahead. So as you were mentioning, you were asking, do creatures give reverence to the Most High? The answer is yes. Okay, go ahead.
Kings of the earth,
Kings of the earth, go ahead.
and all people, princes and all judges of the earth, both young men and maidens, old men and children, let them praise the name of the Most High, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven.
Exactly. Now I'm going to show you in certain situations when it comes to wisdom of how the world operates, the creatures sometimes have more knowledge and more wisdom than we do. Okay? And I'm going to show you. Let's go to the book of Job. Let's go to the book of Job. If anyone knows that offhand, where it says, ask the, I believe it's Job 13. Job 13 and 4, if I'm not mistaken. Exactly. As the brother was just mentioning, it's deep. You notice that when the sun is about to come up, when the Most High is bringing in the beginning of daylight, you notice that all the roosters, they starting to, what do you call it? When the cocks crow, they're now starting to do that. The dogs and everything is starting to bark. They're now reverencing the fact that the Most High is bringing in a new day. Okay? There's one in the book of Job which speaks about ask the creatures and even they shall tell you. Let me see if I can get that real quick. The tabernacles of thieves prosper. That's the one I'm looking for, tabernacles of thieves. I believe it's in Job. All right, here it is. The book of Job, chapter 12, verse 6. All right. This shows you that even in certain cases, the animals have more wisdom than people do. All right, than the average person walking the earth. Also, if you can hold that and get the book of, as a matter of fact, I'll get it here, the book of Romans, the 8th chapter. Got it? So you can go ahead and read that. Job chapter 12, verse 6.
The tabernacles of robbers prosper.
So as you look around the earth, you can see that the tabernacles or the houses of robbers prosper. Okay? No matter how much they steal, how much they kill, how much they rob, they still tend to prosper. Go ahead.
And they that provoke the Most High are secure.
And it says, they that provoke the Most High, it seems as if they are secure. All right? This is the same thing that Ezra was talking about. how the nations who cast scorn upon the Most High are in rulership. All right, go ahead.
into whose hand the Most High bringeth abundantly.
So it says, it seems as if the Most High bringeth into the hands of robbers prosperately or abundantly. Okay, go ahead.
But ask now the
But
beast,
now the scriptures are asking a question. But now ask the beast. Go ahead.
and they shall teach thee,
And they shall do what?
and they shall teach thee,
So if you ask the beast, they shall teach you. Go ahead.
and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee.
If you ask the fowls of the air, they shall tell you. What shall they tell you? The beasts of the field and the fowls of the air are wise enough to tell you that the tabernacles of robbers prosper. They even see that those who rob and steal and kill and destroy creation are prospering in the earth. Go ahead.
Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee.
It says the earth shall speak to thee. If you could speak to the earth, it would be able to tell you. It's like that expression they have, if these walls could talk. Okay? As a matter of fact, the scriptures speak about that also, where it says that the beam shall fall out the wall, and it shall prophesy against them. Okay? I don't know if I'm paraphrasing that one correctly, but it speaks about how the walls are going to be talking and speaking against the evils that the wicked have done on the earth. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 9,
Read that last verse again.
and verse 8. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee.
So now all the creation of the Most High is able to declare the fact that the tabernacle of robbers are prospering. How can they tell that the tabernacles of robbers are prospering? All right. Part of the tabernacles of robbers prospering is destroying the fish of the sea, the fowls of the air, the beasts of the field. You don't believe me? Go down to a slaughterhouse and look at what goes on at a slaughterhouse. Okay? You don't believe me? Go and see what they do with the chickens when it's time to cultivate and deal with the chickens and bring forth the chickens for breeding. Okay? You don't believe me? Go try to take a cup of water and drink freshly out of the sea. See how much mercury is in the water and how much fluoride they're putting in the water and all these different chemicals that they're putting in the water. Spraying chemtrails in the skies. The chemtrails are falling upon the waters and falling upon the vegetation, falling upon the earth. Okay? Ask the earth about all the pollution that's happening, how the airs are polluted, so on and so forth. These are all things that can be testified by the creation itself. But yet we walk around and we think that this is heaven. Okay? We think we in our kingdom just because you're able to go watch the football game, you're able to go watch a movie, you're able to watch the next Floyd Mayweather fight. Okay? You're able to see LeBron James duck a basketball. All right? Kobe Bryant trying to win a 6th ring. You think that these things are a part of a righteous kingdom. Okay? When in reality, this is hell, and the other creatures of the earth are suffering, and they're waiting for you to wake up out of your sleep. To prove that, let's go to the book of Romans, the 8th chapter. All right? And you can start at verse. Let's start at verse. Let's start at verse 20. Verse 28. All right, you got it?
Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we
As a
know,
matter of fact, start at verse 20. Verse 19. Verse 19. Romans chapter 8, verse 19. Salakia.
for the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High.
Read that again.
For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High.
So it says, the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the glory that's going to come, or the manifestation of the sons of the Most High. So the creatures of this earth are waiting for you to come into your full power, your full glory. Why? Because not only are we experiencing hell on earth, they're experiencing hell on earth also. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 20. For the creature was made subject to vanity.
Why? Because the creature was made subject to vanity. Through Adam's fall, not only did we suffer, but creation also suffered. There are certain levels of creation that they were dealing with before the fall of Adam. Like it tells you in the book of Josephus, and it tells you in other Hebrew records that animals actually had the power to speak before the fall of Adam. But all of that was lost with Adam's fall. So it says they were made subject to vanity. Go ahead.
not willingly,
Not willingly, so it wasn't the animals who decided to break the Most High's commandment and bring the earth into this present state. Go ahead.
but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope.
So it says, but by the same who have subjected, read that again.
But by him, but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope,
Who was that talking about? Adam. Go ahead.
because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption.
So it says, even the creature itself shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption. So they no longer, when the kingdom come, the animals are no longer going to have to worry about the things they have to worry about in this present state. Even animals having to go and hunt each other. Lions have to go and hunt deer. Alligators having to go and hunt. And all these different animals having to go and hunt. That's a curse. All right? That's why it tells you when the kingdom comes that the lion is going to sit down with the lamb, and all these different animals that initially in this society, in this present state, will be going at each other, going to war with each other. The lion trying to hunt the lamb, so on and so forth, the lamb trying to get away. There's going to come a time when that's not going to exist. Why? Because the Most High is going to lift the curse of all creation. Go ahead.
Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High.
So you know how much we speak about being brought into that liberty, being brought into the kingdom, getting the glorified bodies and all these things we speak of. The creation is waiting for you to do so. They're waiting for you to come back to the Most High so you can get those glorified bodies. Because with you coming back into full power, you coming back into your position, what happens? They come back into their power and into their position. All right? So everybody is looking up at you. The animals, sometimes they look at you like you crazy, like you wonder why they're looking at you with a strange look. All right? Cats looking at you, just staring at you like this guy you don't even realize what's happening in the earth. You just going about your day, and the animals, dogs barking at you, you walk past. You wonder why the dogs are barking at you. All right? Why? Because these animals are waiting for you to wake up. They're waiting for you to come back into your power. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 22.
And it tells you, just another point, it tells you that the animals weren't able to lift up themselves against Adam before his fall. All creatures were subject and put in fear of Adam. But when Adam fell, what happened? The creatures started going against mankind. So where now you can't just go out into the wild and try to deal with a lion, or trying to befriend a lion, or try to befriend a tiger, a leopard, so on and so forth. All right? We all know what would happen if you try to go and deal with that. But just another point to show you that all these things that are happening in this present state of society, even the creatures, even the animals can realize the destitute, detrimental, the decrepit state that this earth is in at this present time. All right? And that's why I stated earlier that the animals in some cases got more wisdom than people got. All right? Because you put a person in this same position, in this same kingdom, and he think he got the kingdom of heaven on earth. All right? But the animals know better. So let's get a few more questions. Someone says, why did the Messiah curse the fig tree? Well, he cursed the fig tree because when he came back after his, it says he was on a journey, he was a hungered. Okay? And he told the fig tree to bring forth food, to bring forth fruit so that he can eat. And the fig tree didn't listen. So he said, from this time forward, you shall be cursed. So that's why Christ cursed the fig tree. All right. So matter of fact, let's just read that real quick so people don't think I'm just creating this. All right, let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 12. All right? And this is just to give you a reference so that it's not just coming from me. It don't sound like philosophy. It's actually a scripture that can show you why the fig tree was cursed. Okay? Can you go ahead and read that? Mark 11 and 12.
And on the morrow, when they were come from Bethany, he was hungry.
So Christ was hungry. All right? A lot of people think that Christ was just this guy floating around the earth, didn't get hungry, didn't get upset, didn't get sad, didn't deal with temptation. A lot of people think Christ was just like an angel just floating through the earth. All right? But it tells you in Romans 8 and 3 that he came in the likeness of sinful flesh. So he was bound by the same exact things that we go through: hunger, sadness, dealing with temptation in the flesh, so on and so forth. Christ dealt with these things. All right? But we know that Christ was able to overcome it. Now go ahead. It says that he was hungry. So yes, our Lord and Savior got hungry.
Verse 13. And seeing a fig tree afar off, having leaves, he came,
Seen a fig tree coming afar off. Go ahead.
if haply he might find anything thereon.
So it says, if haply he may find anything thereon. So in his mind, he was happy that he seen the fig tree, and he thought that he was going to be able to get some figs from this tree. Go ahead.
And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves,
So it says, when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves. Go ahead.
for the time of figs was not yet.
Go ahead.
And Yeshua answered and said unto it, No man eat fruit of thee hereafter forever. And his disciples heard it.
Exactly. Now, when you go to another story which deals with the same exact topic, it tells you that Christ commanded the tree. Let me see if I can get that one real quick. All right. Let's go to the one in Matthew chapter 21. All right. Can you read that, Matthew 21 and 19?
And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he
So
came
this
to
is-
it,
This is the same exact account from the last one we just read. Go ahead.
and found nothing thereon, but leaves only, and said unto it, Let not fruit grow on thee henceforward forever. And presently the fig tree withered away.
Right. So because the fig tree didn't bring forth fruit, so let me correct that. It doesn't mention that he commanded it to bring forth fruit, but it does mention that he came to the fig tree looking for fruit, and the fig tree didn't bring forth any fruit. Okay. So based on that, he cursed it, and it says, "Let not fruit grow on henceforth forever." So let me correct that. All right. And it shows you why. As a matter of fact, it's going to show you why he did so as you read on. Can you just read the next few verses?
Verse 20. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, How soon is the fig tree withered away? Yeshua answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith.
So there's a purpose as to why Christ did this before his disciples. They said, "How long shall this fig tree be withered away?" Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith, and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done.
So Christ was showing his disciples the power of faith. All right? He was showing his disciples the power of faith. If you have that faith, like it speaks about in some instances where you have that faith, like a grain of a mustard seed, you should be able to tell the mountain to remove into the water, and it shall be done. All right? So he was showing them, if you have faith, and of course we know that other scriptures make mention that faith don't come except through prayer and fasting. So you have to build your spirit so you can get that level of faith. But when it comes, you should be able not only to tell a fig tree not to grow any fruit, you should be able to move mountains. Okay? All right, let's get... someone says, can you get a Can you give a brief description of what Behemoth looked like? Once again, as we went into the scripture, as a matter of fact, let's go there again. All right, and this will be the last one. All right, someone says, was the law of cutting hair that is in Leviticus for all Israel, or just the Levites? Well, that particular custom of cutting hair is not necessarily a scripture stating that you're not supposed to keep yourself trimmed or well groomed. All right, that's talking about what you see in, for an example, what you see in Apocalypto, where people are shaving all types of designs and doing all types of things with their hair and basically destroying the image of the Most High, because man is created in the image of the Most High. Man's not supposed to be walking around with all types of shavings and all types of the designs going around in his head. Okay, so that's what that's talking about. All right. Someone says, are there any documents which show what Behemoth looked like? Well, I actually have a picture, but this is just due to this particular picture is just which we'll call based on folklore. All right, you have a stone cut, or you have a illustration. This is a watercolor illustration, and if you look this up, this is from William Blake's Illustrations of the Book of Job, published in 1826. You have a depiction based on what he put together concerning Behemoth and Leviathan. Okay. Okay, go back to water. All right. Now, is that the exact depiction of how they actually looked? I'm not sure. Okay. We will see in the last days what Behemoth and Leviathan look like. Okay, when the Most High reveals them. Okay. Someone says, what does Thawada mean? Thawada simply means thanks. Okay.
What's the age of accountability?
Someone says, what is the age of accountability? The age of accountability, according to Hebrew custom, was usually around 12 years old. Okay, when a person was now brought under the understanding of the fact that you are now accountable for the laws, statutes, and commandments. All right, that are contained in Scripture. An example of that is when you go to the New Testament, the book of Luke, when it mentions that Christ, when he was 12 years old, he was in the synagogue with the chief priests and the scribes and the lawyers, and he was contending with them within the synagogue. All right. Why was he able now to go into the synagogue and contend with them? Because he was at that age, okay, of accountability, in which now a young man, he goes, he starts to read the law, he starts to do all these certain things and starts to become accountable for his actions. Someone says, are mixed breed pit bulls considered evil hybrids, like the mixture of beasts created via Nephilim? Well, anything that requires splicing or mixing of different genes, no matter how cute, how cuddly, or how popular it may be, anything that goes against the Most High's plan as far as creation is considered evil. Okay? And I think purposely they started doing it with certain creatures, certain animals, to make them look nice and make them look comely to mankind, so that now they become kind of desensitized to the idea of mixing one breed with another. Okay, they do it with horses, they do it with dogs. Now they're starting to do it with all types of stuff. Okay, they're doing it with sharks, they're doing it with lions, mixing lions with tigers. They even have a museum, I think this museum is in Europe, where they have a display in which they have all these different mixtures, I'm talking about people mixed with dogs, people mixed with pigs. just showing you what their plans are as far as them doing these different mixes and what they're looking to do with mankind. Okay, and they understand that the same way before the flood, if you were tainted, if you were mixed with anything other than what the Most High created, you were destroyed. They're trying to create that same exact thing in our time. Okay. Someone says, is the Bible a book of God's thoughts? The Bible is a book of the Most High God. Okay? The Bible is the book of the Most High God. Let's get Psalms 96 and 4. All right? And this is going to be the last one. If you have any more questions, please send them to the email gatheringas1@aol.com, and we're going to answer them as soon as possible. Okay? We've been busy lately, of course. Last night we had the first advanced lesson, which was good. The first advanced lesson that we've had in a while. And hopefully those who were in it enjoyed that. But, you know, because we're dealing with the advanced lesson, we're now building lessons and doing certain things for that. And there's a lot of other things that we're working on as far as whether it's research, whether it's projects, so on and so forth. So please bear with us. But I'm going to try, even later on tonight, I'm going to try to go into the email and answer, you know, quite a few emails so that your questions can be answered. But someone asks, is this a book of God's? Let's read the book of Psalms, chapter 96, verse 4.
For the Most High is great, and greatly to be praised.
So the Most High, the greatest, most powerful entity, the supreme being, whatever you like to call him, all right? The highest being in this universe, the Most High God, is to be feared above all gods, all right? Now, what is that stating? It states, that's showing you that there's other gods on this earth being worshipped, all right? Now, do the Bible make mention of the other gods that are being worshipped? Absolutely. Okay? It makes mention of the other gods, but it also goes into the practices they deal with to let you know that, listen, if you deal with the worship of this God, it comes with child sacrifice, it comes with this, it comes with all types of practices that are against mankind. And the last thing it comes with is eternal hellfire. Okay? Go ahead.
For the Most High is great, and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods.
So the Most High is to be feared above all gods. Go ahead.
For all the gods of the nations are idols.
Because all the gods of the nations are idols. Buddha is an idol. Allah is an idol. Okay? Amun-Ra, idol. Isis, idol. Osiris, idol. Okay? Any god you can name in this society is an idol. Hare Krishna, idol. Cesar Borgia, idol. One of the greatest idols of this day and age. Okay? One of the greatest idols of this day and age because it got our people, the minds of our people wrapped in this society believing that their oppressor is their God. Okay? So those are all idols. But what do it state about the Most High?
But the Most High made the heavens.
But the Most High did what?
Made the heavens.
So that's what separates the Most High from any other deity that's worshipped in this earth. It is he who created the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them. We shall bow down to him. We shall not make unto ourselves any idols. We shall not serve any other gods, so on and so forth. We shall give praise forth towards his name. And hopefully that answers your question, all right? With that, I want to say bless you all and shalom. Hopefully you were edified when it comes to the understanding of Leviathan and Boheomth. Once again, if you have any more questions, please send them to gatheringas1@aol.com. I'm not sure how much longer it is before Brother and Elder Gabar comes on. Just 1 second. Let me see if I can. Hey, Brother Gabar, if you can hear me, Elder Gabar, if you can hear me, what time will you be on today for the Sabbath? If you're still on. What time will you be on today, Brother Gabar, if you're still there? Someone says, I called Elder Ricard about 2 days ago and the phone got cut off. I need to get in touch with Elder Gabar for baptism and a wedding. Please, I need your help. All right, real quick, I'm going to send your contact real quick. I'm going to send it to Elder Gabar. And Elder Gabar, he should be with you shortly with the lesson going into the law. Okay? Okay, thank you, Brother Judah. All right, Brother Judah said he's going to find out when Brother Gabar will be coming on. He may not be in front of his computer at the moment, but I just sent the message to Brother Gabar to let him know that you need to get in contact with him. Okay? All right. Once again, bless you all and shalom. May you all enjoy the rest of your Sabbath. All right. And for those who are in the academy, we will see you all. We'll see you all tomorrow, Sunday morning, in the academy. All right. Shalom.